Hi, I'm Charlotte and I'm so pleased to be with you here today. And thank you to Lincolnshire County Council for inviting me to speak and share our destination management organisation update with you. Now, before I get started, I just want to take a moment to say how exciting it is for me to be here with you, standing here. I've worked with many people in this room since the early days as a junior press officer at Lincolnshire Tourism, and in many ways you've all shaped my career. I'm looking at some of you now. And therefore it is a real privilege to be able to speak to you about why we've had to grow into a county DMO to release future funding and opportunities for businesses like you. But before we look forwards, let's just pause and look back for a moment, because it is Visit Lincoln which underpins everything that we do. So Visit Lincoln is a huge success. And from the very beginning, so many of you got behind our vision and worked incredibly hard with us to make it the DMO that you see today. Our DMO is an independently run community interest company governed by our board of directors, some of who are in the room with us today. We're financed by businesses buying annual membership, and we deliver commercial projects for partners. We get no other significant funding and have to be commercial in everything that we do. Before COVID, visitlincoln.com was getting over 100,000 unique visitors a month. That's 1.2 million a year. And we found that our work contributes £24 million into local businesses and the visitor economy through the proactive marketing that we do with partners. With you, we've delivered award-winning campaigns across RAF Lincolnshire, Battle of Lincoln, Magna Carta, and worked hand in glove with City of Lincoln Council. Not to mention developed international product for the American, Dutch and German markets. And then 2020 and COVID hit, and it was catastrophic for our industry, and it still is. Overnight, our visitor marketing stopped. Our revenue dropped, and like all of you in this room, I spent hours looking at our cash flow spreadsheet, trying so hard to find a fix that just wasn't there. And at the same time as our income falling, the need for our services saw unprecedented demand. People were getting in touch asking for our help, and the significance of our DMO business community really started to grow. And we didn't shy away from the enormous challenge ahead of us. Instead, we dug deep and we worked hard to support businesses like yours at a time when you needed us the most. We shared COVID information, policy updates, peer support and expert advice. At the same time, Visit England, the body responsible for all tourism in the country, was challenging DMOs to think differently. They wanted us to come out of COVID stronger than we came in. They gave grants to DMOs who showed growth and development potential. And we were successful in getting one of those grants. This set us on the Lincolnshire DMO journey, which has been shaped by so many people, some in this room and some on the screen behind me. Now, it's really important to say that our vision for a Lincolnshire DMO has been directly shaped by the events of the last 2 years. COVID has changed so much, and it's my responsibility and the responsibility of my board members, who are business owners just like you, to constantly scan the horizon and make sure that we're ahead of the curve and best placed to serve Lincolnshire. Let's just remind ourselves of some of the headline figures, because it helps put all of this into context. So before March 2020, we saw growth locally and nationally. It was a £2.4 billion economy in Greater Lincolnshire and a £148 billion economy for England as a whole. In 2020, we saw 50% wiped out and off the value of the sector for all the reasons that we already know. National government pumped £35 billion, but as an industry, we had to suck up the £113 billion loss because of COVID. Now, this slide is really interesting. It's from our friends at Tourism Alliance, who specialise in policy, and it shows losses by percentage of domestic tourism and how long recovery could take. Now, the purpose of this slide isn't to dwell on the figures. Instead, it's to highlight the time frame and show you that long-term strategic thinking is needed to get us back to where we need to be. We can't think short term. We have to look at a tourism strategy and long-term delivery. We need strong, brave, long-term thinking to deliver this recovery and growth. And in my role now as Chief Executive of the organisation, I've seen firsthand how Lincolnshire keeps missing out on opportunities that other places in England get. I've had very honest conversations with local and national partners about why Lincolnshire keeps missing out. And it was clear that we had to do something differently. And it would seem that national government, who invests millions into this sector, is also thinking the same. Because last year, DCMS, which is the government department responsible for the sector that we all work in, commissioned a report looking at what the most efficient delivery structures could be for tourism in England. They know they have a huge challenge to rebuild. Remember, £113 billion in that earlier slide. And unless there is a structured and efficient delivery network in England, government will never hit their targets. And this is where this chap comes in. DCMS asked Nick Dubois, an experienced tourism businessman and former MP, to do a national independent investigation of DMOs. And he said, first and foremost, I found that DMOs are here to stay. They are found in every region and destination in the world with a developed tourism industry, and with good reason. Tourism businesses want them because they understand fundamentally that tourism is an ecosystem and that their own business success is intrinsically linked to the success of the destination as a whole. He then said, it is time for government to put in place a supercharged DMO network capable of unleashing the potential of England's most powerful attack brands. In his report, which was published in summer last year, he proposed seismic changes to the national tourism landscape, a landscape in which every single business in this room operates in. The 84-page report was published with 12 recommendations for government, LEPs and DMOs to work together on hitting these national targets. The headline recommendation said that a new tier system should be launched for DMOs in England, and that the top tier DMOs would get core funding for skilled DMO staff to drive forward the local tourism agenda. The recommendations went on to say that LEPs and councils cannot be DMOs, and that LEPs and local government should actively support their DMOs. These recommendations were also endorsed by the Local Government Association, and consultation about the next stage of this work is ongoing. With such strong recommendations on the horizon, our goal was really clear. Lincolnshire needed a DMO that would cover all the county, so when funding and opportunities become available, we didn't miss out. Alongside the national step change, we also started getting more requests for our help and support. Already 70% of our DMO partners are from outside of the city, so it became very apparent that our reach was far wider than many people think. We'd already started delivering projects that were county-wide, such as Cycle Lincolnshire, and our board of directors is helping me recruit highly experienced new destination marketers into the DMO team who can drive forward the next stage of our plans. Support kept growing, as we set up a Pathfinders business group who challenged and scrutinised our work. Forward-thinking councils like East Lindsey, Boston, West Lindsey, North Casteven, City of Lincoln, North Lincolnshire, North East Lincolnshire, all aligned their local tourism agendas with best practice and the mood music that was coming out from central government. Changing our structure was hugely debated. It gave me sleepless nights. Visit Lincoln is so successful. Why change something when it works? If it isn't broken, don't try and fix it. The easy thing would have been to stay the same, stay as we are. But standing still while the world around us changes after COVID is something that I or my board of directors just couldn't have done. We've never been afraid of a challenge, and as business leaders, we knew that change had to be made so that funding opportunities could be unlocked for our partners. Here is Chris Barron, who's also in the room with us. Here you go, Chris, on the big screen. One of our Pathfinders talking about Destination Lincolnshire.
2020 was devastating for the industry as a whole, particularly on the coast. 2021, every business I've talked to is talking about being a very successful year. I think this is a really exciting time for the visitor economy in Greater Lincolnshire, but what we need to be sure of is that we have one voice that represents us, and Destination Lincolnshire will be really important to that. It's going to bring everything together from the Humber to the Wash, and it will represent us far more strongly with Visit England and with politicians getting the message through what the county needs, but also getting that marketing message out there and creating awareness of what a great offer we have in Greater Lincolnshire. My hopes for Destination Lincolnshire is it's going to be a powerful lobbying voice with politicians, Visit England, getting across the needs of our area, but more importantly, for marketing the great assets we have as part of the visitor economy. And all organisations need to join because we need one voice out there representing our views. We are Destination Lincolnshire.
Thank you, Chris. Even though our geographical footprint is changing and the team has got bigger, our core values that guide us haven't. They remain rooted in everything that we do, so much so that we've brought them to life in these activity with some really exciting brand campaigns coming up with partners like LNER, English Heritage and Visit England. Developing businesses through new product, innovation, bookable experiences and events is a fundamental piece of work that we will keep doing. And we have a huge programme of research and trend analysis taking place so that we can better understand who is, and more importantly, who isn't coming to Lincolnshire and why. And we want to share this with you so that you can better understand the current Lincolnshire visitor, but more importantly, the future profiles too. And we want to work together to develop packages and experiences which encourage them to stay longer, spend more, whilst also respecting our county. Working with partners across heritage, arts, retail, sports and culture, we will also help with visitor management by coordinating thematic campaigns that move people around Lincolnshire sustainably. And we'll continue to support placemaking by making sure the visitor economy has their voice around the table. The one question we've been asked throughout this whole growth process is what's going to happen to Visit Lincoln? And my answer is simple. Visit Lincoln will stay as the attack brand for the county. All income is ring-fenced and reinvested back into Visit Lincoln marketing activities. Visit Lincoln is a much-loved and internationally recognised visitor brand that is here to stay. It attracts and disperses people across the county. Destination Lincolnshire, by contrast, is the parent brand and corporate identity of our DMO, which is much more representative of the Lincolnshire footprint that we already serve. Its purpose is to support the business community, the heartbeat of our sector, and enable joined-up thinking and delivery. Sitting underneath our corporate brand identity, you'll see the visitor-facing brands that sell products and experiences to customers. The oldest and most mature will always be Visit Lincoln, and the reach of Visit Lincoln's marketing is in the millions. And we will keep on investing in it using cross-marketing campaigns to attract and disperse visitors across the county. And like any family, our DMO brand family has the potential to keep growing, shaped by the needs of visitors now and in the future. Now, trying to condense 18 months of development into a 20-minute presentation is almost impossible, so I'm very happy to talk to anybody afterwards about the journey that we've been on. But one thing I would like to say is that we've been told by respected and trusted people in this industry at a local and national level to stick with our vision for Destination Lincolnshire. I know long-term that this is the right thing to do. And I'd like you to know that we are doing this to better serve the businesses who work within the visitor economy and make sure that Lincolnshire no longer misses out. And finally, some really good news that we haven't yet announced. News which I hope shows you the sort of future opportunities that Destination Lincolnshire can deliver. In the darkest depths of lockdown, I spent countless hours looking for funding opportunities that could be used to rebuild tourism in Lincolnshire. And as Ed said earlier, I kept having that what-if moment. I knocked on doors that I'd never knocked on before. I read documents, I made phone calls, I pushed the boundaries, and I put in an ambitious proposal into the Lincoln Town deal to modernise our digital marketing channels, which work so hard in promoting Lincolnshire. Remember that number I said, £24 million it contributes. Last month, we found out that our proposal had been given approval by national government, and with help from City of Lincoln Council, we got green lights across the board. There's a whole backstory to this application, which I don't have time for today, but it does mean that you will see a £1.8 million investment in the Visit Lincoln marketing channels, including a new website, new mobile apps, online bookability, new packages, gift cards, digital screens, interactive street signage in the city. There will also be a huge cultural and arts programme wrapping around this investment, working with partners like Lincoln Business Improvement Group. This will be one of our major projects as Destination Lincolnshire, which will transform and future-proof the way that we market Lincoln, Lincolnshire and your businesses. Getting this money was hugely competitive, but we were successful and we've brought it into the visitor economy. And hopefully this is just the beginning. And although this is a Lincoln-focused project, it's our ambition to make sure that it benefits all of Lincolnshire. Thank you so much for giving me your time, and thank you to Lincolnshire County Council for inviting me to join the speakers today.